RM and Pharrell talk about producing their upcoming collab and more.
Welcome home, familia.
And oh my god, how sentimental is this that RM and Pharrell are gonna be working together?
Do you recall when BTS and Pharrell met backstage at the Billboard Music Awards?
I do.
I remember the members being so stoked that they took a picture with Pharrell and they met him.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
Whoa! But who would not get excited meeting Pharrell? He has been a legend in the game for so very long.
And now, he's doing a collaboration with Namjoon. Oh my god. Let's jump right into this interview. Question of the day. Are you aware of Pharrell? And if you are, what is your favorite song of his?
And if you're a real fan of him, what's his age?
21.
And also for those interested in watching Jin's V-Live with us for the astronaut promotions, we did recently watch that on Patreon. If you want to watch, click the link down below or this card right here.
This is so legendary. Have you guys seen the Rolling Stone cover magazine already?
They look absolutely swaggy, familia. Just icons next to each other. Look at Namjoon's shoes right here.
He just came back from crashing Jin's ship.
I'm not sure if you remember, but we've met at
Of course.
Billboard
Of course.
Yes,
in 2018.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
We took a photo.
We took a photo
I
together.
wanted to work then.
Oh!
So cool. I bet you Namjoon's like, man, we're so fucking cool.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, you know it.
Like when a legend like that speaks highly of you when you're like a young artist on the come up, you must feel so proud, right? That was a great opener, not gonna lie.
He said, I wanted to work then.
He saw the power of Bangtan.
He saw their potential.
Musicians on musicians.
Musicians on This collab is insane, familia. Never would have expected it, but I respect it.
I feel like we're all gaining some cool points watching this. I would have never
thank
expected
you
this.
For having me. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for having me as well.
You know, I think that there's a huge benefit in writing and producing for other people. I'm pretty sure you may feel that way as well, but it allows me to go to places that I wouldn't go for myself.
Wow.
And as much as it feels like, you know, I may know what I'm doing when I'm doing songs that I'm, you know, featured as a solo artist, some people know, but most people don't know that all of my solo efforts have always been songs that I have written and produced for other people. In fact, when I try to write songs for myself, produce songs for myself, they always are too complex and seem much more like a puzzle than
Wow.
they do,
Wow.
you know, a jam, you know, like a bop.
Maybe
But I
Namjoon can
do
relate
those
to
for
that,
other
you know?
people. So for me, oftentimes, my
Namjoon is a
best
heavy
stuff
writer too.
Heavy thinker.
But I do those for other people. So for me, oftentimes, my best stuff is the stuff that I poach back from myself. I don't know how it is for you.
In 2005, I was just an elementary school kid, and I just wanted to be a rapper. As I got to know what's rap, it's, you know, basically it's rhythm and poetry. I really felt attracted for this whole genre to, you know, send the messages to the world. Actually, it's really you know, embarrassing to answer about all this in front of my idol.
I was curious if Pharrell was Namjoon's idol because the way that Namjoon's staring at him right now, he looks so inspired.
Like the way Namjoon was looking at him, it looked like he was like admiring him and studying and just taking in what Pharrell had to say because he's such a veteran in this game.
I think it's so cool that this young boy from South Korea got into rap because of artists like Pharrell. This is just a full circle moment right now.
I'm sure this is so fulfilling for Namjoon himself to be working with one of his idols.
Idol, but for me it's really more comfy to, you know, mostly for me I write somebody's lyrics or the melodies for other artists, not as many as you, but it feels like, you know, it gives me another avatars and characters.
Yes.
So when it comes to me, it's a complex, and it always comes with the pain, you know, to confess. But it's still the most important part for me.
I can relate to that. I think the pain part for me is probably the fun part, because that like that's like some of the most vivid paint.
Namjoon's like
that-
smile as he's
the fun
speaking,
part, 'cause that,
man.
like that's like some of the most
That's
vivid
inspiring to
paint
hear.
Yeah.
that we can use as artists when we're like filling in what we want to be a powerful verse. It's like, okay, does it hurt enough? You know, or does it feel good enough? You know.
True.
So I understand you there when you say, you know, you inject the pain in your verses to make sure that like,
Right.
you know, they're strong. I agree.
I was wondering the creative process, how it's different for you yourself, like In My Mind or Girl, or between the songs you made for the others, like the singers or the rappers, or like clips, grinding, of course. I just wonder the difference, from the scratch.
So when
that's a
an
good
artist
question.
walks in, they ask for something.
Like a track or
They'll
idea.
say, I just want something hard, or I want something
beat.
darker, or I want, something that's like for the club, like,
Banger.
you know what I'm saying, a banger, like. And so I'm considering what they're looking for, but I'm also thinking about like the texture of their voice,
Texture.
and the patterns and the melodies that they do usually. Then I think about how I can give them something very different than they've ever done before.
Wow.
Ooh.
And so when you mix all of that together, a lot of times, an
'Cause
artist
I'm
will say,
happy.
man, that's a little different for me or whatever. And then I'll go ahead and reference it and, sell it to someone else. And then like oftentimes that same person will come back to me and say, man, why didn't you play me that? And I was like, I did play you that, but they
Dang.
weren't hearing it in that way.
Wow, that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun
Wow.
part. But then there are people who jump out the window and they go ahead and try it. Because my whole thing is just try it. We don't have to put it out.
Right.
But people
I
are
feel like
so
Suga
good at
gives
what
that
they
advice,
do.
too.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they're afraid to explore different parts of their voice, different parts of their personality, and different parts of their career. So they're a little like hesitant. But for the ones that do try it, they get to experience something new. And look, if we decide at the end of the day it's just not right for them, it's not right for them.
Right.
But you got to hear a different side. That's my favorite part of writing and producing for other people.
Like a challenging.
Yeah.
Like, so here comes another thing.
Okay.
I started to listen to music. I mean, like the hip hop music in 2005. I started with the Nas and Eminem.
Okay.
Of course, the classics.
Yeah.
But as I get to know you, when I first listened to your song, especially, I just want to point out "Take It Off"
Yeah.
because that's my playlist, one of the playlists. So
That's crazy.
when I listen to it,
I wonder if Pharrell was impressed because that was such a throwback or something, or like something that not casuals know. I see two artists just speaking their minds to each other and just learning. Obviously, Pharrell is way more mature in his career. He knows a lot about this field and the creative process.
I am so grateful to be in the same room with these guys.
I know.
I'm so grateful that this interview was published because this conversation could have happened behind closed doors.
I even translated into Korean, and I just recorded once when I was I'm amateur.
I want to hear that.
So when I listen to it, I just always been wanting to have the frequency, like because you always cross over this. These days, genre doesn't mean anything.
Genre?
But I think
Wow.
at that time, I think was like some rappers really criticize the rappers who sing or use the autotunes.
Right.
He
But
knows
I don't
the
know, you
history
started your
too.
career as a producer, or so you're like very natural for that. But I always wanted to have the frequency like you. Like it sometimes it's just singing. It could be falsetto. Sometimes you rap. Sometimes you just sang the hook for the other artists, like Snoop Dogg, and so
Pharrell's appreciating this.
Yeah,
position
Namjoon did his
yourself
background
when you-
research, but
So,
it's from his music research.
How do you
He's like on the edge of his
position
seat.
yourself when you participate in the song as a player? Like,
Wow. First of all, these are great questions.
So President Pharrell!
I feel like he's so impressed by Namjoon and
We could not be more proud.
Like, Namjoon is not an interviewer. He's a musician and an artist, but he's doing such a great job kind of like interviewing and speaking with Pharrell that Pharrell even complimented his questions.
Like,
Wow. First of all, these are great questions.
thank you.
And no one ever asked me that.
Oh,
Believe it or
really?
not. Like, no, I've never had a journalist ever ask me
That really matters to me.
Wow.
So, and that's that's like no cap. Like you, believe it or not, no one's and it sounds
takes one
like
to know one.
they could have,
right?
and because it's such an obvious question, but no one's ever asked.
It's such a
me.
detailed
I'm,
question.
I'm blown away by that. I
Wow.
everything I make decisions based off of feeling.
Oh,
I don't
Intuition.
make them based off of convention.
Wow.
I gotta
That's a
rap,
true
I gotta
artist.
sing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's just whatever it feels like it needs, and I'm gonna channel it as best as I can because I'm trying to tell somebody else who's gonna be better than me to do it. And oftentimes what will happen was artists will be like, nah, we want you to stay on there, and I'll be like, no, but it's for this person. But I channel what I feel like is missing, and I forget that it's gonna be me because if I think that it's gonna be me, then it won't be as good and I won't be as confident. I'm only confident knowing that I am giving the instruction and the directives to someone else.
That's insane.
Like for example, there's a record that I did with Mystical a long time ago called
Mystical.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, Shake Your Ass, right? So when I did writing wise, Chad and I produced it together, but when I was writing that hook, I was pretending that like Eddie Kendricks from The Temptations
Wow.
could do it. And I remember saying to them, oh man, we're gonna get like, we're gonna get the guy from the Temptations to do it. And they were like, the record company wants you to stay. I was like, wait, what? So it was like this weird thing where like
Could he not redo it again?
That was my sweet spot, is when I channel other people.
Wow.
And I surrender to what the music needs and not let my ego or my feelings get involved. And then I actually make better decisions, whether it's going to be me on the song at the end of the day or not, or another artist. I've filled in the blank and given them a different feeling. And oftentimes, sometimes I would be sharp, when I'm singing on there, but it just felt good. And we would just leave it.
So, I'm not sure if you remember it or not, but we've met at
Of course.
Billboard Music Awards in
course.
2018.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
We took a photo.
We took a photo together.
I wanted to work then, but I didn't want to
Rush it or something.
be aggressive. So I was like, let's just take a photo. But
You were nice.
But I really wanted. I was like, yo, let's leave. I think we took a photo backstage.
Yeah, backstage in your room actually.
Yeah, and then like I was working in a studio not too far off, and I really wanted to be like, yo, fuck all of this. No,
Come to my studio.
Correct this, because I don't want your fan base to be mad at me using this kind of language.
Wow. He's aware.
Using this kind of language. But
He's
man,
being
I was like,
respectful.
man, I wanted to be like, listen, let's leave here right now
And go.
It's great music, because I just loved everything that you guys.
You know, Namjoon would have.
Man.
Namjoon's probably like, why didn't you say that? All the members would have been so down.
I see Suga and J-Hope pulling their hair out right now, like, oh my god, that would have been epic. Wow, so he admired them from afar, but didn't want to be overly aggressive.
But man, I was like, man, I wanted to be like, listen, let's leave here right now. And it's great music, because I just loved everything that you guys were doing. I love your energy, and I love what it is that you represent.
BTS was so respectful too.
Our Asian brothers and sisters, and fellow Asian human beings that maybe don't identify necessarily binarily in a binary way. The Asian community just been going through so much
these days,
and
gradually more and more.
The Asian community has given me so much, and I really feel like y'all's energy. You're also showing like artist periods, not just like not just in one specific genre, but I think you're just like also showing people that like you don't have to be. You can be humble.
Yes.
You guys, your energy is there's a lot of humility that you all vibrate.
Wow.
I think it's a great energy. What people don't realize.
Wow,
is, like,
familia. Pharrell put that in such great words. That was like one of the main reasons that we like fell down the ARMY BTS rabbit hole, because we sensed like how sincere and genuine and humble and how much humility they had. So BTS, even till now, remaining so humble and so down to earth is so inspiring. And even Pharrell sensed it.
What people don't realize is like when you have, you know, literally, you know, hundreds of millions of fans, and you encounter them, you know, 20 and 50 and 100,000 at a time.
Can't notice a single face, you know. It's just a mass.
It's
MAS. That's not
it's a mass.
It's a mass.
And it is a massive voice.
Not a
and
mass.
it is a
Yeah.
massive, using that word mass, it is a massive
He repeated it
energy
on purpose. Mass.
coming at you. And you say jump.
And then they jump.
And they jump. And you sing, and they sing every word.
Right.
And you know that you can feel through their voices that so many of their lives have been affected and changed because of something that you've done.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
I
what
don't know how
only
you.
believe.
I don't know how you do that, because I've had a couple songs do that, and then when I get out there and go sing it, that would make me cry, because it was too much of a responsibility. Every time I get that close to that size and what I do as a musician, I always step back.
Oh, why?
He
It's
steps back.
Is it too heavy? It's like,
It's too heavy,
too
man.
much?
It's too much of a responsibility. That's why I really revere people like yourself and, you know, your band members and other artists like B and J, and like, man, what y'all go out there and go face every night on that stage. It is humbling and it's overwhelming, and sometimes your nervous system got to be built for that.
Of course.
Wow.
Let me ask you this: how do you deal
How do you
after
wind
you come
down?
off the stage,
Yeah.
feeling electrified and shocked every night?
How do you wind down?
How do you decompress, or do you decompress, or do you purge? Like, how do you do that?
Wow,
It's-
great question. I've
yeah,
always been
it-
curious.
Same.
My first performing was in front of like 10 people in some small clubs when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I like forgot most of the lyrics. So at that time I just realized that I'm not a star type. I'm not a like a front man and could enjoy all this shit and just it's like Kurt Cobain
He sounds
or
so
Mick
cool.
Jagger. I'm not that type of. I'm just a human just who loves writing music and just
Yeah.
the energy. So every night, like for example, we had stadium shows in Las Vegas last April.
Yeah.
It was 4, but like every night is a challenge. It's like same set list. It's like maybe the same flow, sort of type, little different, but just like you said, that moment, like after we finished the first 3 beginning songs, and then we, take out the earphones,
Yeah.
and then we're just like, we're fucking back. It's like everybody shouting out. And that moment, that's when I really gets all the nerves.
Wow.
And there's a different me persona for the next 2.5 hours.
Wow.
But before that, from the rehearsal and even in the playing, I got really nervous and so responsible, because I really am aware of the stories that fans buy the tickets and they come from Brazil, from Japan.
He's
from
taking
there,
all
from
armies into
everywhere.
consideration.
They just come there for just that one night. So it feels me like I have to pay back. I have to give them. I have to offer them the best night ever in their lives.
That thought process right there, Namjoon thinking about armies, the fact that they traveled so far just to come see them is so unique.
I have to offer them the best night ever in their lives. So it's a mess, and it's a too much energy. But I'm a human, and I really get nervous, and I really sometimes get depressed and even get swallowed by all the energies. But I'm trying, and I try to deal with it, because I'm a human and I love the music. I love their love, because I think love is really happening when we give somebody, not we
Receive it.
we take.
Yeah.
So I think it's more closer to the real love, I guess, personally. So I just want to give them back. They brought us from just a small city in Korea all the way back to the heart of this music industry.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, LA, New York. Me having an interview with Pharrell, it could happen because of fans all over the world. I'm just always grateful, and I just don't want to disappoint them. How do you define?
Wow.
How do you position yourself? Like you're a producer.
Mhm.
Yeah, you may be a rapper. You may be a singer.
Yeah.
You may be a CEO.
Yeah.
Father.
Yeah.
A husband.
Yeah.
Like what's I'm for, of course the name Pharrell explains everything, but accept that. How will you define yourself?
I don't know. I mean,
Wow, he's him
I'm
saying I don't know, and him being an artist for years.
I mean,
He did a side too.
I'm a public servant first.
Public
Wow.
servant.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that word.
Oh my god.
And
Namjoon's got so many just hits in his brain from that word.
Public servant first.
Public
Wow.
servant. I like
I've
that.
never
I
heard
like
of
that
that.
word.
Oh,
Public
really?
servant.
Yeah.
And when you serve the public, you're doing it's what
Something for
that's-
public.
Yeah, that's God's will. I'm a believer.
I believe it.
Yeah, I believe the universe is real. For me, God is the universe.
Mhm.
We're in the universe. And then again, being a public servant, being
He's
a
very humble
father,
too.
a husband, and then music is like everything for me because music's the skeleton key that's opened up every door. for
Still
me to-
still music.
yeah, it's
This
like
gives
the
me
center
the
of
chills.
everything.
It's so
'cause without
inspiring.
that, I wasn't able to do all the stuff that I'm able to do. And then I definitely have my struggles with having a lack of
Identity.
a sense of purpose, I think.
Oh wow.
When? Like,
When?
Right around 2005, when I put out in my
Namjoon's
mind,
like, when did you not have that
a
lack?
lack of
Yeah.
a sense
Because
of
from the
purpose, I
outside, you
think.
don't see that,
when? Like,
Right around 2005, when I put out in my mind,
in my mind.
I just felt like,
After
man,
that? Right after that?
as soon as it didn't do what I wanted it to do, I mean,
Wow.
culturally, it made an impression, but it didn't do it egotistically. It didn't perform the way I wanted it to.
Egotistically.
Like it just
It's
didn't
separated.
do what I was used to at that time, and that really hit me hard. So that made me start to think about like purpose and things having real, true DNA and not just aesthetic perversion,
Wow.
Wow.
So eloquent.
real, true like meaning, and something that could be meaningful to people, but at the same time still fun. And I've always loved the girl, so that was always going to be a part of it. But so I understand what that is. I know what it's like to hit that place in your career, and for whatever reason, and you guys are doing fine. But I think, from what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, you guys hit a place where you were like, what are we doing? Who are we? Are we who we said we were?
Right.
And as you think about who you are and you think about what you mean and what your intentions are, it's like also kind of determining who you want to be. I mean, how's that feel? Like, where are you in that process right now?
Wow.
Is
I
it
like how he
working on a
includes
solo
Namjoon.
record?
Yes, like 90% of the work is done.
Okay.
I've released some mixtape as a one of the member of the band, but I think it was just like experiments. I think this time it's maybe my official first solo album
Okay.
that I could feel
Why did
enough.
my heart just start beating
I don't
so
know
fast,
solo
Amelia?
album
Okay.
that I could feel enough.
Okay.
I don't know it's gonna be like I don't know if I would feel like you after my mind or not. I
Right.
think it'll happen after when I release it.
Yeah.
So I'm just dependent on the time. But
Wow, familia. It seems like a lot of these questions that Namjoon is asking Pharrell is kind of to use for himself and his own career. Maybe this is a fear that Namjoon has right now in the back of his head.
Namjoon didn't even drop his album yet, and he's kind of prepping for maybe this challenge. But luckily, he has a good support system. He's already talking to Pharrell about it. And hopefully, Namjoon left this with like encouragement and hope. But I'm sure armies are gonna do their best possible efforts to support Namjoon and stream his album. So excited for his upcoming album.
dependent on the time. But it's been just like 10 years after we had our debut as a team. So K-pop is all about the band and the groups. And actually, I told you, I personally started my career as a rapper and as a poet.
Yeah.
So that was a tricky part actually, because the K-pop is like a mix.
Yeah.
It's like a mix of American pop music, all the visuals and the choreos and social medias and stuff. It's really intense and really hectic. So it has some pros and cons of its own. So after 10 years, I think it was not our intention, but we took it. But we actually became a sort of a social figure. So a K-pop band going to have a speech at the UN or
At the White House.
meeting the presidents. It's like I think I was really confused that I'm what am I, like a diplomat or what? So I was just like a small rapper and lyricist when I was young, like from the scratch. So
like transformed into something bigger.
It was 10
he didn't
years
expect.
really intense as a team, and I actually was in charge like almost all of the interviews and representing the team like in front of the other members. That was my stuff, I guess, role.
Yeah.
So
The
I
leader.
think I got really I don't know, like, I gotta stop this for a bit. I gotta shut it down.
It became
and just,
a little overwhelming.
Fall from away.
Because he wanted to
fall
be a
from
rapper
away and
at
then
first.
just see what's going on. Making my mind really calm down.
Yeah.
And then I think so that's how I got to concentrate on my just solo. And these days I really have been thinking about the 15 when I first listened to you. The first feeling and the vibe and the reason why I started, why I chose music to for
Like
my
rediscovering
whole
your
life,
purpose.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
that's what the second chapter's about.
When I started my music, I was like 14, and now I'm like 28. So it's like just the half. It's like it's like way shorter than you. So I'm in that process. So it's really tricky and confusing, and I just don't know what's going to happen. So if you could give me any advices.
As an artist, for him to be so vulnerable and let Pharrell and let us know that he's not sure of the future, it's so brave.
I'm appreciating how vulnerable he's getting with us, and I'm just loving this talk so much. Like, I'm a firm believer that not many people can relate to BTS, only artists who like reach that level. So not many people can give BTS advice. So I'm so happy that Namjoon is like getting the assistance from someone who is also in the field, who is also that grand.
So I'm in that process. So it's really tricky and confusing, and I just don't know what's going to happen. So if you could give me any advices, because you were in the band, and you are in the band, and you've done the best. It's different from the K-pop, but you've done a lot of projects, like of course ANNDDD, Neptunes, and of course your solo.
Yeah.
So like any thoughts about
being in the Neptunes, being in ANNDDD, and having a solo record really helped me, because it you do one thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then you
Switch
take a break.
modes.
Yeah, and it allows me to like put on different hats and put on different masks. So I understand that, and
I feel like
know,
Namjoon could relate to that.
He has different hats and
So
different
I
masks.
understand that, and I know like having that departure is going to make it really fresh for you. I think it's good for you to do that, because then when you come back to it, to the group,
team.
I think it's going to be, to the team, I think it's going to be super fresh. You're going to have a whole lot of ideas. I would just say continue to be curious.
Continue to be
And
curious.
don't put any kind of necessary pressure on what it is that you do by saying, no absolutes, like, oh, I will never do music again, or I will never, I wouldn't do any of that.
open
I
to
would
everything.
just,
No nevers.
no nevers, just stay along for the ride. Just keep going.
Ride with it.
Cruising.
Yeah, and just see where you end up, because it's really interesting.
Ah, so
It
excited.
was a bless.
Pleasure's mine.
It was a blessing.
Thank you.
No, thank
It
you.
was a bless.
Pleasure's mine.
Wow. What
was real as freak, Familia.
That was too go.
After watching this interview and also watching Jin's V Live, it's giving me so much clarity and hope for BTS. It's making me so excited. Familia, let us know how you're feeling down below.
We've been receiving a lot of like different new content from the BTS members. We're accepting it all. We're open to it all. And we're just gonna keep on cruising along with them, Familia, till 2025, right?
And Familia, if you would like to watch our reaction to Jin's V Live, click this Patreon button right here. It was such an emotional and much needed V Live.
Or if you would like to continue the fun with us here on YouTube, go ahead and click on that top video right there to watch RM teach us about Korean modern art. Bye.